Hello out there. I am not sure uh, who might be on the line listening, wherever you might be. I want to wish you a happy new year. Hope that you were able to get some respite during the holiday season. I did. I enjoyed it, took a needed vacation, and made every effort that I could to unplug from the madness and all that's been going on. Um, but while I was vacationing, I was in Barbados for about 2 weeks. I couldn't help but to dial in and read the headlines about Dr. Claudine Gay, and I've been holding space for that sister. And here I am yet again holding space for another sister. And that would be, excuse me, that would be Antoinette Bailey, the former vice president of student affairs at Lincoln University. My heart is deeply, deeply troubled to learn that that beautiful sister, that beautiful soul, died by suicide. And that the president of the university is on a voluntary leave as evidence has emerged of workplace bullying. Um, I'm deeply, deeply saddened by that. I'm really devastated by it. And I'm going to have to attend to my own mental health because when one of us is impacted, the community that I'm from, when one of us is impacted, all of us is impacted. And I'm just deeply, deeply saddened. I'm saddened to know that the trauma, the harm that she was contending with in her role, um, left her feeling as though she didn't have an escape, right? Besides, to possibly take her life. I'm just really, really saddened by that. And I really don't have a lot to say, but I thought it important to get on here and to remind whether you're an ally, whether you're a black woman, I want to say to you on the other side of this screen, do you? These jobs are literally killing us. We've seen what happens to Black women in executive leadership roles. We saw Dr. Claudine Gay in the hot seat. We saw what happened and how the heat got turned up on her, and things gained momentum really, really quickly before that sister bowed out. And I'm so grateful she did. Otherwise, who's to say I wouldn't have been popping on here to commemorate her and memorialize and honor her, right? We've seen examples of how Black women are treated very publicly. I haven't forgotten about how nasty, long, and brutish, the confirmation hearings were for Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. I haven't forgotten that. And that provided just a window to the kinds of abuse, microaggressions, condescension, bullying, intimidation, dominance posturing. I could go down an entire long list of things that we saw that sister withstand during those confirmation hearings. And if that is happening publicly, if folks are emboldened, if cisgendered white males are emboldened and perpetrating these harms on Black women publicly, I shudder to think what is happening behind closed doors. Hell, I myself have experienced some harm. So I'm holding space for that sister. I'm holding space for her family. And I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And I'm going to tell Black women, listen, it ain't nothing going on at that job that is worth more than your health. I understand that we have families, we have parents, we have extended families. If y'all know me, y'all know I always got another kid in my household, another young person that I'm financially, emotionally responsible for. Yeah, the pockets might get a little light sometime, but nothing is worth your emotional health and well-being. So, Black women, I want to encourage you to rest. I want to encourage you to prioritize yourself. I want to encourage you to prioritize your healing. It's your birthright, it's your inheritance. You deserve to live well. You deserve to work well. You deserve to be liberated and healthy and happy. To my allies, this is another example of when being an ally, when the rubber meets the road. Because I imagine that there's a Claudine Gay in your office, or Antoinette and Candia Bailey in your office, right? If you're working with Black women, there's a couple of things I want to encourage you to do in the spirit of being an ally. And this is where being an ally gets, a little dirty. You get your hands dirty, where you got to really roll up your sleeves. Number one, do not be silent. When you see harms being perpetrated on Black women, allies, use your voice. Give voice to them. Give cover to them. First and foremost, right? Use your voice. I firmly believe that to be silent is to be complicit. And I'm going to tell you something, as a Black woman in this country who knows inequity, I'm not comfortable with any inequity being perpetrated on anybody, because I know what it feels like so intimately, right? This is a time when you got to use your voice. Number two, believe Black women. If you're working with a sister and she feels comfortable enough to talk to you about some of the harms or dangers or whatever she's experiencing, believe her. Extend that grace to her, front load that grace to her. Because one thing I know about Black women working in these roles, if you're sharing space with a sister and she's comfortable getting naked and disrobing that kind of trauma to you, believe her. Number three, support Black women. Support Black women in these spaces. How can you do that? Ask her if there's something that you can take off of her plate, within reason. It could be something small, it could be something large, whatever you're willing to avail that can give her some degree of respite or check something off of that long list of to-dos that she's got, do it, right? And beyond lending a helping hand, encourage her to get some rest. Say, listen, I know you're in this. This is brutal. This is harsh terrain. And I just want to hold space for you, but also assure you that give yourself permission to do what's best for you. If that's using some of your sick time, using some of your leave, trust me, this department, this organization will be okay. You can take a day off or two, right? Encourage that sister to get some rest. And four, encourage her to do what's best for her and ask if there's any way that you can support her, even if that means finding greener pastures elsewhere. Because these jobs are literally killing us. And I cannot, in good conscience, operate like things are it's just normal business. I'm a fundraiser. I help organizations, orchestrate and engineer strategies to marshal resources for their organizations, right? Stressful work, especially in a society that's riddled with inequity. But you know what? Sometimes I got to put my cape down, and I'm not afraid to tell other Black women to put their capes down, because at this rate, not doing so is costing us our lives, and no job is worth that. From the White House to the trap house, I don't care where you're at, no job is worth it. So I'm gonna light a candle, I'm gonna light an incense, and just spend some time here in my home this weekend, and just hold space for this beautiful soul, Antoinette Bailey, Antoinette Candia Bailey from Lincoln University. My heart is heavy. My heart is heavy. And it just simply means that, I've got more work to do, and every opportunity that I get, please believe I'm going to talk to Black women and tell them to rest. Please believe I'm going to encourage Black women to operate in their best interest, because I know, I'm keenly aware that in this world, if anybody is putting their bodies on the front lines for justice, democracy, it's Black women. It has always been Black women, right? And that is a huge mantle to carry. But guess what? I'm going to unapologetically encourage my sisters to take off that cape and lay some things down in the interest of their health. And if you're on the other side of the screen, I hope I've said something that has some resonance that has found some resonance with you. And what can I say? We got work to do. Please find it in your heart to find space, say a prayer for this sister, for her family, for the other people that are working inside of that organization, that have this harsh reality of knowing someone was under such duress that their recourse was suicide. This is reprehensible. But hey, I'm going to leave it there and hold space for this sister, and I'll tap in with you soon. In the meantime, make sure you're taking care of you. Everybody else will be all right in between. I promise you. I promise you. Everybody else will be all right in between. Be well.